Good morning and welcome. Hi, I'm Bob Pace, and you've found my live stream, Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. It's my morning live stream that I've been doing for over 2 years. I want to welcome you all back. I had taken a couple months off, and now I'm back doing something I've been doing for over 2 years. And so I started this in October of 23, and it's a daily live stream that I do 3 times a day now. I'm doing it 3 times a day. One time at 8 a.m. in the morning Pacific Standard Time, again at noon or afternoon at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and in the evening at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's 3 times a day I do this live stream, and I want to give a warm welcome to a lot of the people that are returning. So um, um, I I know it's kind of um, maybe the format or something for all that are new, but I sit here and talk about an agency, a government agency run by social services that I call the Child Protection System. It's found in every county in every state and worldwide. Yes, I have over 30 countries that have called in or text a message in for help. So almost every state has texted me. So I've found 50 states and many of the provinces in Canada, and then several of the countries in the continent of Africa. So it's really a very worthwhile thing. And the office contact me, so I'm back here again. Um, Let me see here. I need to put one of my I need to put a stickler at the bottom of my page here. Now, there are um, there is a phone number that you can call me directly. Let me give you my phone number. It's 6 Okay, I had I have a new person here, Andrea Fonskas, who was on yesterday. I remember you're from Kankakee. Now, is that Wisconsin? I don't know what state that is. I don't know what state that is. Um, Let me see here. Hello, Heather Stewart. I can certainly help you from Scotland. I am so glad to meet you from, I think it says Scotland. I have this. Oh boy, seems like I lost some of my people coming in. Here it is. Um, Andrea is from Illinois. Okay, great. I'm glad to see that from Kankakee, Illinois. I'm glad you come back to me. I'm glad you come back to me. Let me. We have Heather Stewart from Scotland. I'm so glad to have you. I know you're about 8 hours ahead of me because I'm on the west coast of California. But I'm so glad to have you. You're about the fourth person from Scotland I've talked to. And all you have to do is you can call in. Our country code is 01, or you can text me your question. I'll try to help you I can, Heather. Let me see who else is calling in there. Let's repeat again. So I'm so glad. My countries have been amazing. I have a regular person from South Africa, and they would call in from time to time. I have a lady in Leeds, England, that calls in, and then I have other countries from around the world. I have from Spain and Portugal, and from India and Indonesia and Australia. Can't forget Australia and New Zealand. Anyway, it's about 30 countries. So, all right, now, okay, let me see here. I would love to help a family from Scotland. All you need to do is tell me the details and I'll help you. So, I'm so glad to have you here. Um, what I do with this show is I help you get in touch with an attorney. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He's a guy that worked for. and um, he can defend you. He's one of the best attorneys around the world. That I've used him personally, and I know other people that have been on the show have hired him and successfully got their children back. In fact, one of them is David Halago from Santa Maria. He had a case in Santa Barbara where his daughter was accusing him, or actually relatives were accusing him of improper behavior with his daughter. Now, he's a single dad. He had a son and a daughter, but the family members were so deceitful and so bad. And it took about, I would say, 7 months for Vincent to get his daughter back and win the case. And win the case. CPS is very corrupt. The child protection system is supposed to protect um, our, um, our children from neglect and abuse. Hello there, Carolyn Stoneberger. I have no idea where you're from, but welcome, Carolyn, and I would like to help you. Now, you guys can either call in. My direct line to call in is 626-698. And that's my direct line. Or you can call the office, 888-888-6582, and have them connect me to extension 404. I think what I need to do is there, I put my number up there so you can see me. The office is 888-888-6582. And I usually will tell you about 5 rules that I've developed that help you. I'll explain to you when a knock comes to the door. I go into details about other things. There's things that a lot of people don't even aware about, something that protects our first immigrants, the Native American Indians in North America. And that's the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1979. I can talk about that. Protects our first immigrant children, so that if there's a CPS case against them, it's handled by the tribe and on the reservations. I know that's kind of weird to be talking about Indians today, but our Indians have gone through a really tough time. In the late 1800s, 1875 roughly, forward, they were rounding up the Indians and putting them on reservations. The Indians had no power against the culture that had settled in the United States, and it was mostly European culture that came over here. The first person, or the first group to discover North America besides the Native American Indians, they did so 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, they came across an old land bridge in the Bering Strait up by Alaska and Asia that connected them. Because 10,000 years ago, man was wandering. He'd gather things and hunt, and he'd wander. And so he started in Africa, moved to Asia, and spread westward across to Alaska, down through what's now called Canada and the United States. And so these first immigrants, where it's wild and savage. They probably, the technology wasn't there. Why the technology was more in Europe, I don't know. Maybe because Europeans had a faster growing culture. I mean, the Romans were over in Europe, especially in England. So a lot has to do with the transitions. You have the Egyptians and building their pyramids, and you have lots of cultures. But anyway, The Vikings were explorers, and they're the ones who discovered North America. They were the first Europeans to come here to North America. And anyway, as I was talking about in the 1870s, there were so many broken promises and treaties not kept. And it was really sad. Well, the children were rounded up and taken to private schools. A lot of them were religious based, and their Indian um, clothes were stripped. They had to wear uniforms. Their hair was cut. They were trying to be assimilated into the European culture in North America. Now, I keep saying European because it would be American culture because we had the 13 states and other states forming the United States, and we had our own culture happening. But that culture was fast improving. Later on came the industrial age, where we have a lot of technology and so forth. Well, the Indians lived like they lived for 10,000 years. They lived off the buffalo, but the Americans kind of killed off all the buffalo. And they had automatic weapons. They had the Gatling gun that could sit on a hillside and kill hundreds of thousands of Indians. It was really sad. So this ICWA law that I'm talking about, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1979, came about 100 years late. And what it does basically, if you're a Native American Indian and you're one of the 584 recognized tribes in the United States, federally recognized, then your child can be placed with the tribe on the reservation to have their CPS matter handled, meaning to be a American Indian family. They'll take the child in and help them if they were um, did something bad to the child. The parents can help redo the other parents. You see, one thing that the culture is so nice is the American Indians knew how to take care of their own. And I'm sad to say, but Americans have a tendency to be independent and move out early in life and don't worry about their mother and father. But the Indians are still good people. The only problem is they're kept in poverty. There's been so much destruction to them. In the 20s, 2023 or 22, they finally recognized that they were bad. And the US government made a promise to compensate the Lakota Sioux for taking away their Black Hills. But the Lakota Sioux have never agreed to that. They want their land back. The Black Hills, the South of Canada is there. But I'm not here to talk about just one group of individuals. I'm here to talk about all. I've had a lot of American Indians call in here, and I want to help you. Now, we had a lady from Scotland, which is nice. I'd like to hear more from her. We have someone named Carolyn Steinberger. I have no idea where she's from. And we have Andrea from Illinois, who's new. She came on my show yesterday. And then we have Heather Stewart from Scotland. And Stewart is a Scottish name, boy. My mother is a Stewart. Of course, her ties are in Queen Mary Stuart of Scotland. So, anyway, Heather, I would like to help out your family in Scotland. And I'm sorry if I'm popping in and out. The format of StreamYard's changed. I use an application called StreamYard, and I'm able to put things down here, and I'm trying to learn to use it, so forth. But anyway, let's move on from the Native American Indians, our first immigrants, to the majority view from the United States. Now, your CPS case may start with a knock at the door. Most of the time it is. The problem is you're caught off guard. And a lot of them have old habits of answering the door to strangers. You never want to answer the door. You never want to answer the door because you don't know what's front of you there. That's one of my rules. You never answer the door. And the reason being is people have been killed by answering the door. You just don't know. Your safety is your concern. Your house is like your castle. Your door is your drawbridge. When your door is closed, the drawbridge is up. No one can get in your home. They have to have a warrant to get in your home. Or there's got to be an immediate danger happening before the police will break into your home. Police and social workers from the child protection system can't enter your home without a warrant. Now, if the police are following a criminal act in progress, they can break in the house. They have somebody that is in danger, they can't break in. If a child is screaming or yelling or there's commotion, they can break into the house. But typically, when they come knock on the door, it's from allegations. And there's two types of allegations. There's ones made by professionals and one made by laypersons. Now, these allegations can range from all kinds of things, from neglect or from abuse. For instance, taking a child and shaking a child is abuse, physical abuse. Yelling at a child, punishing a child can be mental abuse over and over excessively. Physical abuse can also be hurting a child by hitting him. It is the most preferred method to discipline a child is something called timeout. Timeout. But that's sometimes hard to do when you have the anger instilled in you. I'm not here to talk about politics. We have something horrible happening right now. I wish they could get to settle it at a timetable there. Anyway, a timeout is the best way to do it. Taking a belt or a stick that causes welts or harmful to a child is wrong. Punching a child is wrong. Strangling a child is wrong. Those are all forms of abuse. There's physical abuse and mental abuse. Now, neglect is where a child is left alone, unsupervised, with no food or water, don't have proper clothing, proper shelter. There's a lot of things neglect can be. For instance, if a child is very sick and not taken to the doctors or doesn't have the proper shots, those things are all signs of neglect. Now, as I told you, the two kinds of people reported, the professionals go to school and they learn how to recognize child abuse or child neglect. And they take courses and learn how to report it. Those kind of people are your doctors and nurses, your policemen and firemen, your school teacher, your counselor, your administrators. It's also can be a caregiver. Those people are required by law to report it. So if a child comes to school badly beaten up or bruised, the teacher's going to report it. And they have a law to do so. Now, the other kind of individual is the individual that is a family or a friend or acquaintance, like the guy at the store. Now, professionals get it right 50% of the time. The layperson gets it right 25% of the time. That's terrible odds there. Now, I have another comment from Heather. Yeah, we all have photos of the abuse and the kids are suffering and nobody's listening. Well, in Scotland, I don't know where you're in Scotland, but Edinburgh, I've been to Edinburgh. But do you have social service there in Scotland? Do you have anything called the Child Protection System? It could be the Child Protection Services, Department of Children and Family Services. It's any of those acronyms. You have a government agency that deals with it. And what you do is that if you have photos of abuse, the kids are suffering, what you want to do is call into the agency and report you'd be a layperson reporting it. And you would have to give them your name and number, but the information should be about you should be kept confidential. But it's very important that you get somebody on it right away because the child could die. The child could die, Heather. I'm so glad that you told me about that. Okay, be very careful of foster care. Foster care is parents that are supposedly trained and are qualified to temporarily take care of a child when the child is not safe to be at the home with his parents. It's very important to remember the biological parents are the best parents to have a child with. Now, if the biological parents have a hiccup, they did something awful, maybe they have a drug habit, maybe they don't know how to feed or take care of the child, that can be all corrected. And there are classes that they can take, parenting classes. If they have a drug problem, they have drug classes they can take. They have domestic violence classes. That's a year-long program. And so it's very important that that you record everything. Now, the best way to do it is, I don't know in Scotland, is it 911, your emergency number? What is your emergency number in Scotland? What you want to do is you want to call that number because they'll keep a record. If you call the police or you call social services, it's a bad agency, they'll lie. And I'm sorry to tell you that because I really believed in our government. And I'm not saying all of it's bad, but a lot of them are bad. In the United States, it's really bad. We call 911 and make a statement. They take the information, they'll contact social service. But crime is in progress, they'll get a hold of the police. If someone's injured, they'll get a hold of the ambulance and have the paramedics come out and assess the situation. Now, you say your children are in foster care and they are subject to abuse. That is typical story I hear in foster care. They took our kids on lies. Okay, so it sounds like you have a bad child protection system there. They wouldn't even allow our kids to go to kinship. Well, that's wrong because that's the first step. When the children are taken by social services, right away they make a list of people that the kids can stay with. That is the primary goal within the week of having the children stay with family members or kinship. And if they didn't do that, your biggest problem probably is you didn't get an attorney. You need an attorney. Now, I think in Scotland, they're called something different. I forgot what the attorneys are called, but you need a lawyer, someone that has a background in family law and juvenile law, and someone that has fought CPS. Because without them, it's going to be hard. Now, you're going to say, well, it costs money. I know it does. And that's the hardest thing that most people have. Now, my attorney, Vincent Davis, can be hired he works in LA County, but he'll work in other places. His minimum retainer is $5,000, and he's $550 an hour is his fee. Now, you could get a loan, a credit line on your house or something for $5,000 if you're in LA County. Now, I don't know how much the lawyers are in Scotland, but you need to find at least 3 attorneys to interview them and make sure that one of the 3 will be the best for you before you pay the money. There's a lot of bad attorneys. You don't want to grab the first one there, Heather. You don't want to grab the first one there. Yeah, the solicitors go along with the social workers. I know your feeling, Heather. I know exactly what you're going through. And it's typical in the United States. A lot of foster parents do abuse children in their custody. So I feel for you going through that. Now we're halfway through my show. I'm talking to Heather, who's asked several questions. Heather's from Scotland, and her kids were taken by the CPS system in Scotland and placed into a foster care family. The foster care family is abusing their children. You see, it's all about money, is how child protection system works. It's about money and how much money that they can get. It's all about money. And thank you guys for the emojis. I love the emojis, a smiley face, a thumbs up, hearts. No, even stars are great. I like that. Now, when you say solicitators, are those the social workers, which you're calling solicitators? Are those the social workers, Heather? I can guarantee you can go up the ladder, meaning you can go to the civil rights coordinator in your country. I don't know how your government's structured, but there's always someone at the top that you have to go to, and sometimes you have to. The United States, our social services really, there's no board of supervisors or directors that watchdog. Now we have a new agency called DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, that is investigating the child protection system and social services. They're kind of the new watchdog that our current president has placed on it. We have a country undergoing a lot of government change. And we have a very strong country, as you probably know. And we're trying to put a stop to crime, to drugs, to abuse. And that's what DOGE is all about. But also, you can unite with other people. And as a group, you can go ahead and have protests to the government. Everybody has accountability. Everybody has accountability. I know in Scotland you do too. It's your parliament, I believe, in Scotland. And if you have to go before parliament, then go do it. I don't know where you live, but I think their parliament is in Edinburgh. I think that is the main part of Scotland. I just know from my trips up there, I used to play rugby, and I played the national team of Scotland. Good rugby up there. Played Wales and England, played a lot of countries around the world. But anyway, you're going to have to do some homework. You're going to have to get on the internet and do some searching. There's a thing called ChatGPT or Google. And between those two, you should be able to find it. Now, the way you want to do it is that you put the city followed by your country or your province. I think it's going to be city, province, and country. And then put the letter CPS, a lot of things will pop up. If you want to be more specific after the letter CPS, then put out what you're looking for, like the government civil rights coordinator. Reason why I mentioned civil rights coordinator, they're supposed to help you. There are laws in Scotland that you can go and use. You have a constitution in Scotland. So you got to learn all about Scotland. And okay, you say, Heather, we do not have that here. Our lawyers go along with CPS. Well, not all lawyers do, because that is corrupt. That is corrupt. And you should be able to talk to a lawyer there, somebody that's fought for the rights of CPS. Now, the reason why a lot of lawyers do is because they are afraid. It takes a lot of time and effort to fight a crooked CPS agency. But like anything, you can do appeals. You can temporarily put a hold on things. But you got to learn. You got to learn how CPS works in Scotland. And I'll try to look into it after my show. I'll try to look into it after my show. But I got to help all people. So I'd like to hear from our person from Illinois. It's okay, Heather, to talk, because that's really important. Carolyn Stoneberger, I'd like to hear from you more comments. I don't know where you're from. And then, of course, the lady from Illinois. I'd like to hear more from you, Andrea. I'd like you to ask me some questions of what's going on in Illinois. What's going on in Illinois? Um, she's from Kankakee, Illinois. I don't know about her case. Then my regular people, if you're out there, Christina Reynosa from Las Vegas, um, Lisa from Montana, Mary Jo from Montana. I haven't talked to you in a while. We had Aaron the last couple of days from Tennessee, Aaron and Michael. Also Felicia from Oxnard, California. I need to hear from you, Felicia. David Halago, if you're there, please text me how your case went. I want to hear it because I heard the outcome was great from Vincent Davis. Now, as I was mentioned earlier, Vincent Davis has over 30 years of fighting CPS, and he's won thousands of cases and got the children back. He's a trial attorney. He also does civil lawsuits, and he's won millions of dollars from CPS, from social workers who have lied on the stand in court, who've committed perjury. I had a case about a couple that went in for their child was very sick, and they were told at first by the hospital that it was appendicitis. Now, they never did anything but an MRI. And her pain, she was a young child, I think she was 4 years old, and her pain was on the right side, where your appendix is on the left side. And what happened was she had a gallbladder with a gallstone, and she has trouble getting rid of them. That was causing the pain. But the hospital misdiagnosed it. The parents refused to have them remove the appendix till they got another opinion. The hospital called the child protection system, or there was a child protection system there, and they were accusing the parents of neglect, not getting something done with their child. Parents have the right to determine what's best for their child. Now, if they're watching their child and their child doesn't do well, and they're not doing medical treatment, that's one thing. But these parents said they had nothing wrong, but they wanted to make sure before they had the appendix removed. Anyway, they went along with CPS and they had the appendix removed. The child still complained, and that night they had to take the child back to another hospital. They did x-rays and found out it was a gallstones on the left side, and they went ahead and treated. Meanwhile, she had her appendix taken out for nothing. An appendix is still important to have. It's something you don't want to take away. So anyway, the parents, I told them to get an attorney. They did so, and they got a lawsuit against them. The child, the charges against them of neglect were dropped, and the child was released in their custody, and the child is doing better. But that's the problem with social workers. They're in the hospitals now. They're in urgent care. They're in the emergency room. And they listen and they jump to conclusions. They all think they're doctors. And a lot of the social workers don't even barely have a high school education. They should at least have a college degree in family services and social work. They should have a college degree, and they should have a master's in clinical psychology to help out a child. So they should have at least that. They also should go through an internship of a couple years to learn how to work with parents and stuff. Right now, there isn't that requirement. They're unleashed. It's all about money. My social worker was so happy to get a new Gucci purse every week from the bonus she got for having 3 of my children kidnapped and wrongfully accused. They were getting $20,000 per child. That's $60,000 a month they're getting from 3 of my children. I too was a victim of CPS. I too. Well, you have to do something called an incident log, Heather. You need to take a sheet of notebook paper with lines. Devote each incident to 3 lines. Your first line should be the date and time of the incident, either the phone number or the address where the incident occurred. Was it on the phone or was it in person? And the list of people involved. That's on the first line. The second line should be in a brief 1-sentence summary of what the incident is all about. What was the incident all about? And the third line is the outcome. If you don't know the outcome, skip it. And when you do know it, come back later and fill it in. But Heather, have an incident log. Take pictures and try to get, if one attorney doesn't work, and you may have to go through 10 attorneys. And to find an attorney, you just put your city, your province, and your country, and then put CPS, and then put in a juvenile family lawyer. And you'll get one. You'll get a bunch of them that pop up. You have to filter it out right. So I'm trying to help you, Heather. And you're going to stay with me, Heather, because you come by every day. We'll help you through this. I only have an hour, and I have right now about 20 minutes left of my show. But I help you as much as I help out all people from around the world, from the United States, from Canada, England, Africa. You tell me where you're from. I help you. I'd like to hear again from you, Carolyn Stoneberger. I have no idea where you're from, but I'd like to hear from you. Also, I'd like to hear from the lady in Illinois, Andrea Frankis from Kankakee, Illinois. I want to help you. Also, a lot of my other friends here that come in my show all the time. There's Felicia from Oxnard, David Halago from Santa Maria, Lisa from Montana, Mary Jo from Montana, Aaron from Tennessee, Faye from Richmond, Kentucky, my friends in North Carolina. There's a father. Not only is there child protection system, there's adult protection system. Adult protection system, APS and CPS. Adults are also abused, and I have had several adult PS cases on here, so I'm open to anybody with the abuse, anybody deals with there. I think you all need an attorney. Now, I've developed some other rules that I want to share with you when you're fighting your CPS case. Besides getting a attorney, you should create a notebook about 6 inches thick with dividers. And that way you should put all the paperwork you generate. Now, I already told you about the incident log. That's one thing that should go in the notebook, along with your court papers, your social, your CPS papers, any other papers. You just group it and put it in a tab and put it in there. Also, you need to put in your certificates of your classes or your programs that you finished with. If you're doing drug testing, you put the drug test results. That notebook will help you with your case and help your attorney because what you're doing. There's another important document that you should do, something called a journal. You all should write a journal to your kids. They want to know what's been happening since they've been taken away, and an easy way for you to do it is write it down so you can share it with them. And let me take some more water. Hmm. Okay. So with that notebook and that journal instant log, you're set. that because your case may go 6 months to a year, the domestic violence program takes a year. It's 52-week class, long class. I've done it. And it is done there. Yes, Heather, I hope you do call me. Remember, country code 01, then 626 698 0990. Yes, a strong belief in God is important, Heather. I'm so glad to meet you. I'm so glad to meet you. Anyway, another uh rule that I've come up with is when they come knocking at your door, don't answer the door. You don't know. You could be shot answering the door. What I do with my family and friends is I establish a special knock or ring at the front door to allow them in. Otherwise, I don't answer it. You want to stay back away from the door and be quiet. Be quiet until they go away. Now, they usually leave a card or notice they're by. And what that does, if it's from social services, your first step is do that rule number 1, get an attorney. Because they'll tell you what to do. And you should always have an attorney present, a lawyer present at all times. It's your constitutional right here in the United States to be represented by an attorney through all legal proceedings. So don't answer the door. Now, if you happen to meet a social worker outside, they got to have a warrant. You just ask them when they first introduce themselves, is this regarding a legal matter? If it is, say that, hi, my name is such and such, but I need to have my attorney present. I'm going to contact him. We'll get back to you. What is your name and number? They're going to try to push their way into the house because they want to find something. They're going to try to take away your child. If you mistakenly let them in the house, then don't say very much. Tell them again you want to have your attorney present, but they got to have a warrant to take away your child. It's really terrible how pushy the social workers are. Now, the police are with the social worker to protect the social worker. They're not supposed to enforce the child protection agency. They're not an arm of social service. They think they are. There's a lot of corrupt policemen that pursue it like they're supposed to be responsible. They're only supposed to protect the social worker. But there are a lot of bad policemen. I've seen enough stories about that. Now, I've had on my show a social worker. I've had several social workers and several foster care. So I encourage, if there's a policeman out there that like to talk on my show, you're welcome. A social worker from the child protection system that wants to talk, you're welcome. The one I had was a very nice lady from Maryland. She had a college degree in social services, and she had a master's in clinical psychiatry. She had done 6 months of training with the group before she started, I guess, working in there. And she was really horrified to hear what I was saying. So it is kind of hard. But I care about every one of you. And I really want you all to get help. And you need to get that attorney. And I have the great attorney, Vincent W. Davis. And you can reach him at the office at 888 6582. 6582. And he will help you. He cares about CPS. He gives us his time. He's dedicated over 30 years fighting them. And this law office has other attorneys that help you also. There's other attorneys that he has that help you with other legal matters. It's a complete law firm. And they're in LA County. And he was my attorney. Unfortunately, I had a terrible case where my children were stolen and false allegations were made. And it was terrible. I don't have enough time right now to talk about my story, but I can in the future talk about it again. I have talked on previous show. If you look me up, there's lots of my documentation. As I say, I have over 2 years of show. So on YouTube, you'll find a lot of my shows. And good, listen to them. I will help you. I care. I care about all of you. We've had Heather do a lot of talking this morning from Scotland. She has a terrible case. She's been wrongfully accused by social services. Her children are being abused by a foster care parent. So we have there. Also, we have some new people that have come to my room. We have Carolyn Stoneberger. I don't know where you're from, but I'd like you to come back in there. I don't know what your situation is, but I'd like to hear about it. We also have Andrea Fanskas from Kankakee, Illinois. I don't know what her case is or anything else. I think that is about it. I don't think I have any more other people. I have my regulars in here, but that is it there. Now, as I was talking to you about coming in your home, whatever you do, you don't want to talk to them or have them in your home. Now, I mentioned a warrant. A warrant is a court document that's generated by social services or the police to enter your home and do what says on the warrant that they can do. Now, a warrant will have a judge's signature. It should be a wet signature and a current date. Now, if they have a date at the top that's on a weekend, or the date where they signed their name is on a weekend or a holiday during the weekday, then that's not a legitimate document. That's the first thing you can do, is check for the date and the signature. Because I'm afraid to say they do use old warrants and they lie. I know firsthand that they lie. They're not transparent. Social service is the child protection is a maze. It's like Alice in Wonderland. You've fallen in the rabbit hole. You met the Chester cat, and they take you on for a wild goose chase to room with no ending. So that's how CPS is. They make promises they don't keep. They lie to you. They embellish funds. They steal money. It's all about money. It's $1 trillion business that they are making. It's a lot of money. And that's what they think about there. Anyway, you got to be heads up about social services and the child protection system. Now, it depends on different cities. I know in Orange County, California, which is where my county is, it's called the Child Protection Services. But next door in LA County, it's called the Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS. So no matter what acronym they use, and all of them are called the Child Protection System. It's a system that's supposed to protect our children from neglect or abuse. They've only been around, the organization, since the 60s. It wasn't until 74 that they came up with laws. And it really wasn't until the 2000s where they started to be very good at what they're doing, but they've also gotten very lax at what they're doing. There's 1,000 cases every day that go unreported, which is sad. There's that much abuse and neglect. And there's horror stories about neglect and abuse. I've heard them all. But anyway, I care about each one of you. I do believe in God. He's a special person in my heart. And I pray to him. And he's one of the reasons that's kept me going. You know, I've worked 61 years in my life. I have a lot of life skills. I'm 76 years old. I'm a father of 6 children, a loving father. And I have over 43 years of marriage experience. I still am taking care of my wife. My youngest children just recently moved out, but they're all on their own doing good. I worked a lot of different jobs, from an animal trainer to a ocean lifeguard, from being a school teacher to a civil engineer and working in construction. I'm a marine biologist. I am a scientist. I have my degree, my Bachelor of Science in Marine Biology. But of all the jobs that I've done, the child protection system has been quite the challenge because I'm trying to help every one of you, and I'm only given 1 hour to do so. And that's why I have 3 shows a day. Again, my show times are 8 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. in the afternoon Pacific Standard Time, and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the evening. That's 816. So you can remember, and that's 7 days a week. And for 2 years straight, for 2 years and 3 months, I did it straight. Then I'd taken off a month here in January and a month in February. 2 months, I'm back at it again. I started on Saturday, and then I've done Sunday and now Monday. This is my 3rd day. I did 3 shows yesterday, 1 on Saturday, and I'm doing 3 today. But I don't want any of you to give up. You can come back here. If something comes up, you'll see me 3 times a day. So you can save your questions for me and I'll answer them. I'm here 24/7 almost. I mean, I don't know of too many people that have a live stream that repeats 3 times a day, especially in a subject matter as intensified as CPS is. It's a horrible thing. It's horrible because our children are abused and neglected. We need someone to watch after them. We need someone to protect them and so forth. Now, at the end of my live stream, I'll have a nice video. I want you to watch it. It's a video that give you a good pickup. But when I turn my face off, you'll see the video for about 2 minutes. And it's really good. But I want to thank all the people that give me emojis. I have a thumbs up and a smiley face. Thank you very much. I've had 3 of them. And then all my visitors, had many as 10 people in here, and that's really great. I want to thank Heather Stewart from Scotland, who has had a difficult time with CPS in her country. I want to thank Carolyn Stoneberger for coming in and saying hello. I want to know more, Carolyn. I know this may be your first time, but she came and it was so nice to have her there. I want to thank the lady from Illinois, Andrea Frascas from Illinois. She's from Kankakee. And she was the first person that came on this morning before Heather did. I want to thank Mr. Davis for what he does. I appreciate his hard work. And I know he means well, and he does well. He's a great attorney. So please call 888-888-6582 and hire him or talk to him at least. You need an attorney to fight CPS. So anyway, I want to say God bless you. Have a good morning, and I'll see you at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is Bob Pace signing off.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the